Have you ever stopped to think about how all this sensitive stuff we send across the internet, passwords, bank details, you name it, actually stays private? Well, there's an unsung hero working behind the scenes, and it's called IPSec. It's the security guard of the internet's infrastructure, and today we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it does its job.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about why the internet is kind of insecure by its very nature. Then, we'll introduce IPSec as the solution to that problem. After that, we'll get into the real technical stuff, its core protocols, and the two ways it can operate. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by figuring out how you choose the right kind of protection.
Okay, first things first. Before we can really appreciate what IPSec does, we have to understand the fundamental problem it was created to solve. And it all starts with the internet's basic design.
I want you to think about it like this. Sending data over the regular Internet Protocol, or IP, is a lot like sending a postcard. Seriously, the message is just written right there on the back, out in the open. Anyone who handles that postcard along its journey, the mail sorter, the mail carrier, they can all read it. The Internet was built to connect things, not to keep secrets.
This whole postcard problem really boils down to three huge security flaws. First, there's no confidentiality, which means anyone can snoop on your data. That's where things like man-in-the-middle attacks come from. Second, there's no integrity. Somebody could actually change the message on your postcard before it gets delivered. And third, there's no authentication. You can't be 100% sure who actually sent the postcard in the first place, opening the door for nasty stuff like IP spoofing.
Okay, so the internet has some pretty glaring security holes. The industry obviously needed a powerful, standardized way to fix this, and that, my friends, is where IPSec comes into the picture.
IPSec, which stands for Internet Protocol Security, isn't just one single thing. It's really a whole suite of tools, a framework, designed to plug those three security holes we just talked about. And here's the genius part. It works way down at the network layer, which is layer 3 in the OSI model. What that means is it secures everything automatically. Your web browser, your games, your email, they don't even have to know IPSec is there. It's security baked right into the foundation.
This transparency is a huge reason why it's the industry standard. It just works. It directly solves the big three problems by giving us a complete security package. It's also incredibly flexible, which means we can swap in newer, stronger encryption methods as the old ones get weak. And because it's an open standard, a device from one company can talk securely to a device from a completely different company. It's like a universal language for secure communication.
So we get what IPSec is trying to do. Now let's pop the hood and see how it actually does it. At its heart, IPSec really comes down to two main protocols that do all the heavy lifting: AH and ESP.
You can think of these as two different flavors of security. On one side, you have the authentication header, or AH. This is kind of like putting a tamper-proof seal on a clear glass box. You can prove who sent it, and you know for sure it hasn't been opened, but you can still see what's inside. Then you have the encapsulating security payload, or ESP. This is like putting that same tamper-proof seal on a solid steel safe. It proves it's genuine, but nobody can see the contents.
So let's zoom in on AH. Its entire purpose in life is to guarantee integrity and authenticity. It digitally signs the packet, proving it's from the right person and that nothing inside has been messed with. But, and this is the absolute crucial takeaway for AH, it provides zero, zip, nada encryption. The data, the payload, is still out there in plain sight for anyone to read.
ESP, on the other hand, is the whole shebang. It does everything AH does, integrity and authenticity, but it adds the star of the show, encryption. This is what gives us confidentiality. It takes our postcard and seals it inside a locked, opaque envelope. Now, it does have to leave the final to and from address on the outside unencrypted, otherwise routers wouldn't know where to send it. But the important part, the message inside, is totally secret.
Okay, so we've got our tools, AH and ESP. But how do we actually put them to work? Well, IPSec gives us two different modes of operation, two different strategies for applying this security.
And the easiest way to get your head around this is with that mail analogy again. The question is, what are you trying to protect? Are you just trying to secure the letter inside the envelope? Or do you need to protect the entire envelope, including who it's from and where it's going? That's the fundamental difference between what we call transport mode and tunnel mode.
First up is transport mode. This is all about protecting the letter. What happens here is the original IP header, the to and from addresses, is left totally alone so routers can do their job.
Then the IPSec security stuff gets slipped in between that header and the actual data, so only the payload gets protected. This is perfect for when you need secure communication between two specific computers, like two servers that trust each other.
Then you have tunnel mode. This is where we protect the entire envelope. In this mode, you take the entire original packet, header, data, everything, and you encrypt it and wrap it up. Then you slap a brand new IP header on the outside just for shipping. The original source and destination are now completely hidden inside this new packet, and if that sounds familiar, well, it should. This is the core principle of how VPNs work.
So we've got our protocols, AHR and ESP, and we've got our modes, transport, and tunnel. This gives us a few combinations to choose from. Let's put the two protocols head-to-head one last time to make it crystal clear when you'd use one over the other.
Looking at it like this, the choice becomes pretty simple, right? Both of them give you integrity and authentication. That's a check for both. But the huge glaring difference is encryption. AH doesn't have it, ESP does. And because of that one single fact, ESP is the go-to choice for pretty much every modern use case, especially VPNs where secrecy is the whole point. The only time you might even think about using AH is in some really specific, rare case where the data isn't sensitive at all, but you need absolute proof it wasn't tampered with.
So, IPSec gives us this incredibly powerful and flexible toolkit to build a more private internet. But you know that flexibility can also be its biggest weakness. It's a complex system, and a single wrong setting, one tiny misconfiguration, can accidentally leave a door wide open. So the real question for us moving forward isn't whether we have the tools for privacy. We do. The question is, in a world of constantly changing threats, are we using them correctly?